Hi everybody, it's time to break out those iced canes again because it's North American hockey season. I'm Mike Emmerich, and this is my favorite tie. My granddad got me this tie before he left for the big war. I'm here with my good friend, whose name I didn't read because I was talking, but let's just call him Samit Sarkar. Hi Samit, how are you?
I'm good. How's everything? Are you ready for hockey?
You're supposed to keep dubbing like you're the other... Oh, forget about it.
No.
Am I ready for hockey? That's a tough question. Spiritually, probably not. Mentally, no. I don't understand. I don't understand North American hockey, Submit.
But physically, though, are you ready? Is your body ready for hockey?
My body could not be more ready for some hockey. We're checking out NHL 15, the 15th NHL game. I know that's...
Yeah,
I know it's not true.
Well, you know, there was all the other 14 hockey leagues before it, the 14 other national hockey leagues, but they had to shut them down for various reasons. So this is the 15th one.
Well, there was a great fire. There was a great hockey cleansing of the earth.
Yeah, fire and ice, they don't mix.
They sure do not. So here we're seeing a face-off. Is that right?
That's what they call them.
Okay, so I got that much down. I wanna hear about NHL 15. I don't. People, this isn't for you, Samit. People at home, I don't actually want to hear anything about NHL 15. But was that a penalty? Did you just offside it?
Offside. They don't call it a penalty. It's just offsides.
Well, okay. I really am showing my hand about how much this is not a goof. I'm assuming you're playing as the Philadelphia Flyers because of how much you love Philadelphia-based athletic teams and are sort of ambivalent about the Rangers in general.
Right. That's exactly the case.
Another goof that I don't think people at home are going to understand. You bleed blue. Is that what people say about Rangers fans?
Sure.
That
Yeah.
they're
Called the Broadway Blue Shirts. So.
Okay. I want to hear about NHL's 15's apparent, like, there's a lot of, like, stuff missing from this, the 15th installment of the venerable NHL franchise. So I was hoping you've had a chance to play some old North American hockey, and I was hoping that you could sort of walk me through what's going on, what's got people so perplexed. I don't care so much about hockey, but I do care about when people who play video games are upset about the video games that they're playing.
Sure. Well, this is the first of the NHL games that's on the new consoles. They did not have NHL 14 on PS4 and Xbox One last fall.
I can tell it's running on new consoles because of the way that the bottom of their shirts are just kind of wiggling around.
Mm-hmm. And there's all the physics when people bump into each other. Sometimes. Yes.
A stick just went through that man. Like, I just saw that. That's not physics, dog.
Well, it's physics of a sort.
It's physics-like. It's physics adjacent.
Yeah. So, you know,
let me tell you one thing that I've already noticed is just busted about this game. That clock is moving way too fast.
Well, yes, I have it set to, I believe for this game it was 5-minute periods. Because periods in hockey, there are 3 of them, and they last 20 minutes long. But
I know. Don't talk to me like I'm a child. I know that.
Well, I'm also telling for the benefit of our audience who may or may not be into hockey.
Sure, they're not, but go ahead.
So there's 3 of them, and they're 20 minutes long, but that's a long time to play a hockey video game.
Yeah, I would actually watch a lot more hockey if the games lasted 15 minutes total.
Yeah. So that's why the clock is moving at lightning speed. So as I was saying, you know, they didn't have the game on the new consoles last fall, and so this is the first one on PS4 and Xbox One. It's also on PS3 and Xbox 360. But you know, people I think assumed that they were going to have everything that the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions had last year, because that's what EA did with Madden and FIFA.
And it's also just like how the linear progression of time works. It is how sequels are expected to function, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the other thing is that both Madden and FIFA, which were available on PS4 and Xbox One in November last year, when those consoles launched, both those games had the same feature set that the PS3 and 360 counterparts did. So it was only reasonable, I think, for sports fans to expect the same of NHL, especially because they had this extra year. You know, they didn't come out on the consoles last fall. But that is not the case, I'm sorry to report. The thing is that this, while it's a lot of fun to play on the ice as you can see in this video, there is lots of hockey going on, and
it's super fun hockey.
Yes, you can't tell, but the person who's playing it, which is me, yesterday or some time ago, was having a lot of fun at the moment.
You're right. I can't tell that from. Were you laughing the entire time while you played it, like you were going down a hill on a sled or something?
Just.
Whee! I did another shot. Yay!
That's exactly what was happening the whole time. That's why I had to keep the door closed in the room, because people kept popping in while I was playing. But no, that's not the case in terms of the modes. So the thing is with sports games, the people who play them, the hardcore sports fans, what they do is they play them for a long time, but they're not just playing, simple one-off games against the CPU or a friend. They're getting engrossed in these really deep modes, whether they're single-player modes or online multiplayer modes.
I mean, that is the only thing that I know and could potentially ever get me into a sports game real hard, is that idea of having a persistent online league, or stuff like that, like the actual playing the game, whatever. But the breadth of progression elements and league modes that could maybe one day be my jam when I reach a certain age.
Yes. Right. Yes. Well, that's certainly the case, and I don't know if you've played Madden, which is a football video game, American football, I should specify.
Football Norte Americano.
That's the one. Madden has a very deep online mode, franchise mode that's called Connected Franchise, and you can play all 30 teams with all your friends and play multiple seasons. And NHL had a similar mode that was called GM Connected. That was, I think, introduced 2 years ago on the PS3 and Xbox 360. But EA does not have that mode in this game on PS4 and Xbox One. Apparently, it was their least played mode, and it doesn't sound like they're going to sort of bother putting the resources in to develop it for the new consoles at all. Which is a shame, because although it may have been their least played mode, I think the people who did play it were super passionate and super into it.
So but those features on NHL 15 are available on Xbox 360 and PS3?
Yes.
That's so batshit crazy.
It is pretty bonkers.
That's a huge gulf of a feature set between different consoles. That's almost unheard of.
Well, the buck doesn't stop there. So that's one mode, GM Connected. There's also a mode called EA Sports Hockey League, which they introduced 6 years ago in NHL 09 on PS3 and 360, whereby you could play 6-on-6 hockey. There are 5 skaters on the ice and a goalie for each team, so you could play with a total of 12 people, one person controlling everybody on the ice. And you could play in a league with divisions and things like that. Like I said, they introduced that in NHL 09. That is also not available on PS4 and Xbox One for NHL 15. In fact, there's no online team play at all at launch. You can only play one-on-one online games. They announced that they're going to patch that in after launch. I think next month is the plan.
That's a big one, though.
Yeah, I do a sports podcast with some other people in the press, and
listen, I didn't bring you onto Overview to plug your book or whatever.
No. Just describing. It's called the Press Row Podcast. But
now, what's a podcast?
It is radio that is delivered over the internet in a recorded fashion.
That was me doing my impression of my nanny.
Okay. Well, I hope she's doing well.
She's doing great.
Now that she knows what a podcast is, I mean.
Yeah. She's got a lot of stuff to catch up.
Yeah. So
you're talking on your radio show.
Yes, and we were all really excited before we found out about the lack of modes. We're like, oh man, we're gonna get our PS4s together. We're gonna play in an online franchise, or maybe an EA Sports Hockey League. We're going to really have a lot of fun together, because that's a big part of the fun with any kinds of franchise mode is really playing with your friends, because, as anyone knows, when you play online with randos,
it's the worst.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Sports is better with buddies. I've always I've always said that about anything.
Yep, that's absolutely the case. And so it's really disappointing to have those kinds of omissions from the game on PS4 and Xbox One. And there's plenty of other stuff as well, and sometimes even really basic stuff. So there's a thing in hockey where at the end of every game, they award what's called the 3 stars of the game. First, second, and third stars, just the 3 people who did the best in the game. And
who decides that?
I actually don't know. It might be the league or something.
Wayne Gretzky?
I'm not sure. Well, it's possible. He is the overall hockey ombudsman of all time or something, probably. But I'm not sure. But
I don't think hockey has an ombudsman.
But you know less about hockey than I do, so just take my word for it.
Okay, no, you got a good point. I'm talking completely out of my ass. This is my ass talking. You're hearing right
now. No, I don't think hockey has an. At least if it does, it's not Wayne Gretzky. But in any case, they would have that in NHL 14 on PS3 and 360. They would say, oh, here are the 3 stars of the game. They don't have that, which is like a really basic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like that's again awarded at the end of every regular season game and playoffs as well. And that's not there. They said they're gonna patch that in at some point. You can't edit players, which is a small sounding thing, but
wait, can you create players?
Yeah, so you can create players, and that leads me to another point about this game, which is that even the modes that are there that did make the transition to the new consoles are pretty bare bones in a lot of cases. So there's a single-player career mode called Be a Pro that's been there for ages, and it's kind of like an RPG. So you create a dude. You start out with him like in the minor leagues, and then you take him up to the pros, and you start on like the 3rd line, then you work up to the 1st line, and you get better and better. And as you do, you increase your player's attributes.
I mean, what you are describing is literally the only thing that I've ever liked about sports games.
Yeah, so that's a ton of fun, and the mode is called Be a Pro, and it is available on PS4 and Xbox One, but there are really fundamental aspects of it that are missing or sort of half-baked.
Pucks are not in the mode.
No, there are pucks.
There's nary a puck to be found.
You shoot them at the net, and you try to score.
Gotcha.
With your guy.
What is missing?
Well, one of the main things, because the mode is about growth and personal growth as a player, and as a person, as a human being. During the game, while you're playing, you get feedback from your coach. He'll say, "Hey, please stop turning the puck over to the other team. Stop doing that. You're terrible."
Does he ask that nicely every time?
Well, it's just a little pop-up dialogue box that says, "Oh, hey, you've
sorry to bother you, sir."
Yeah, just please don't do that. It would be great if you didn't do that. And that's he would give you that, and there would also be like a positioning sort of score, like a letter grade. Tell you, oh, A+ positioning, you're right where you should be all the time, or C- positioning, you get your ass to the net. And that's not available. They don't have that in the mode here. So you're just sort of playing the games with no feedback at all from your coach. And the other thing is, in case people don't understand how real hockey is played, the same players aren't on the ice for the whole game. Well, the goalie is, but the skaters are not. There are multiple lines of skaters, and you change lines. You keep rotating out, because if you're on the ice for too long, you get tired, and when you get tired, you get slow, and when you get slow, well, everyone else skates past you. So in Be a Pro, because they strive to be realistic, you play your shift, and then you come off the ice, and then the coach puts you back on the ice when you're rested and ready to go.
You have a Capri Sun on the bench. You have a Capri Sun.
Yeah, little Powerade.
No, it would be Capri Sun.
Well, what about the Zips? Little juice box.
I'm saying that the NHL has an extremely expensive marketing deal with Capri Sun.
Okay.
Also, it's more delicious than Powerade.
Okay, that's fair.
So this happens in the pro mode, and then you just can't play while you're Capri Sunning out?
Right. So in real hockey, the players just sit on the bench while they're waiting to get back on the ice, right? And in the old Be a Pro mode, you used to be able to play that way, and that's fine. Some people want that authentic experience. They want to actually sit on the bench and watch the CPU play, and then eventually get back on the ice. But there were also other options. You could just sim through to your next shift. And,
okay.
You know, and so that way you wouldn't have to just sit there and watch the CPU play.
If I wanted to watch hockey, I would be a completely different person, but I would just watch it on the goddamn television.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to just watch the CPU do that necessarily. And I think there was another option where you could have it totally unrealistic, where you were just on the ice the whole time, like your line, whichever line you were, was just on the ice the whole time.
You take the limitless pill, and then you're just good to go.
Yeah, exactly. You and Bradley Cooper.
Who?
Is he not in that movie?
He is.
Okay.
So those options, I'm guessing, are not available based on just sort of like the tone and theme of this entire video.
Yeah, they're not available. So the only option you have is literally to
watch hockey.
To watch hockey.
A fate worse than death.
So you're just on the ice the whole time. You have no option for
punch him.
Simming through.
Please. Sorry, I just keep wanting to see a fight. You haven't. I've been trying to like hang with you and talk about hockey, but you haven't gotten in a fight. You haven't scored any points.
I know it's rough.
You captured the most boring but also the most accurate game of hockey ever conceived. I'm in hell.
I don't know if Griffin, you were there at E3 in my darkest hour, but that game was tied for a long time.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So
and it was pretty darn exciting.
We're running out of road here. We don't have a whole lot of video left. So like, I guess broad strokes, like it sounds like don't buy the Xbox One or PS4 version. They sound terrible.
Well, so that's the thing. I think at this point, I cannot recommend you spend $60 on this product because it's frankly incomplete. However,
profoundly, deeply, like EA catches a lot of shit for that, and I think like that just happened with The Sims 4. Of a lot of people saying like, oh, they're just going to charge you for expansion packs. Like their reputation on the releasing incomplete games front is not awesome to begin with. But I've never heard of anything like this. This is a whole nother horse of a different color, a shitty color.
Yeah, it really is pretty crazy, especially when they kind of been saying all along like, oh, we had all this time because we didn't launch on the new consoles last fall, and they'd also been kind of cagey about the modes for a while. People kept asking them, and they were saying, oh, word is coming about this, and it didn't really become clear, the enormity of the situation until the game was available to the public through EA Access last week. And the thing is, though, like I said, I wouldn't recommend a full price purchase at this point. But for all that, it really is a lot of fun to play. Like the actual act of playing the game on the ice is fun, and it looks great, as you can see here. And I really do love the new NBC Sports presentation. That's something that the series needed to shake up for a long time. And Doc Emmerich and Eddie Olczyk are two of my favorite commentators in all of sports. So
nice.
There you go. See, I was just stringing you along this whole time because I knew I scored at the end.
I mean, it sounds like the smart thing to do is just not buy it yet, and if they see how much they actually do patch in and how quickly they can get it in there, and wait, because I mean, it's a sports game, so it'll be like $30 at GameStop next week. So
yeah,
I wouldn't rush into it.
Yeah, I think but at the same time, for people who maybe don't care about those deep modes, maybe they only want to play the game with their friends, maybe then it's worth it to them, although $60 seems pretty steep just to do that. But there you have it. I think that's pretty much it for the 15th NHL game.
I just don't... I think this is going to be the first NHL game that I don't buy day one, you know what I mean? And I don't know how to, like, reconcile that.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. You'll have to go back to all the other NHL games in your library.
I know. I'll dip into that one for the Genesis. When our parents got us a Nintendo 64, the first Christmas it came out, which was like, those things were like the lost ark. It was so hard to get those. There were no games anywhere that they could buy, so they bought us the NHL game that launched with the N64, and it was the only game we got because all the other ones were sold out. And we were like, oh, awesome.
I'm so sorry.
So great.
Was that Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey?
I think it was, and I think we went to Electronics Boutique and traded it in and found a Shadows of the Empire. So don't worry, guys. Christmas was saved. Just like this video saved my Christmas in September. I don't know. Thanks for doing this for me, Samit, and thanks for watching, everybody. Can't wait to see who gets the stars. Ah, shit!